feeling amongst the group is we really missed an opportunity to start the season well.
Set the tone massively at the start. We're trash. Honestly, a lot more lads are just being honest with each other. We have a few handbags thrown at training the other day.
Love it.
Do you like Mark O'Keefe's one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I brought Keefe over 5 years ago to New York.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't say boo to a goose.
Yeah.
And now he struts around like he's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Aye. Chicago's
It's like Chicago's Ronaldo.
Chicago's Ronaldo. Yeah.
Shit Ronaldo.
Yeah.
All right, here we are. Welcome to the first Big Dawg podcast. We're here at SeatGeek Stadium after a whirlwind couple of months. And I'm here with my co-host, Sam Harris, head coach, and superstar prop, Charlie Abel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So where do we start? Charlie, how you found Chicago?
Yeah, pretty good. I love it. Cold.
Yeah.
Coming from...
And it hasn't even been cold.
Yeah, everyone says it hasn't been cold, but I've been freezing every day. So either they're lying or I just can't handle it.
Yeah, family liking it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I haven't heard any complaints yet. I think.
And tough one for you, like coming off the plane and playing, 4 days later? Straight into the MLR?
Yeah.
How's that?
The lungs are burning. You probably could tell the lungs are burning. It was good though. I've obviously played in the league before, so I kind of knew what to expect. But
Big 55 minutes.
Yeah. The struggle in 55 minutes. It wasn't pretty of a game from the lads, from us, but definitely burning the old lungs.
How were they after the game?
Gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, gutted. I think we definitely have high expectations of ourselves as a group. Got a lot of good lads on putting it on paper. We've got a pretty good team, but putting it together, the lads putting it together is another thing at the moment. But we'll get there. Feeling confident.
What do you think, Sam, on the back of that?
Yeah, please. Therese, come in. Here comes our sponsored beers. Thank you, ladies.
Should take a cut on that, shall we?
Coach, we brought your favorite, mango. we know you like the mango seltzer.
So we got a selection, do we?
Yeah.
Thanks, Therese.
Thanks, Therese, for the test.
And Sam, what were your thoughts? Obviously, probably like most of us, a little bit disappointed with the result.
Yeah, definitely disappointed with the result. I think Charlie's been modest. He for the 55 minutes he put in a really good shift, scored a try, put some big tackles in. I thought he was pretty good considering the short turnaround. From a team point of view, I think we just we didn't throw the first punch. There was a few effort areas where kind of as a coach that you don't accept as a head coach, and you kind of feel like it's a reflection on you when some of those things happen. I.e., a quick tap and they score a try because we had 8 guys with their backs turned. Charlie was one of those guys.
Sorry.
Other than that, mate, you play pretty well.
It's like slow motion, watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that and a couple of other areas where, we gifted them 3 tries in the first half. It's just hard to compete when they don't have to earn them. And there's just a few other areas where we didn't jump on loose balls, and that really cost us. And so it was good to have the opportunity to critique that performance. But when we came back in on Monday, Tuesday, to really set some standards and create some accountability about what happened in our first game. And I think the feeling amongst the group is we really missed an opportunity to start the season well. DC's a good outfit, but we just didn't put out a performance we could be proud of. So, the great thing about rugby is we get to atone for that on Sunday and up against a really tough Utah pack. But it's been a bit of an opportunity for us to kind of take stock and right the wrongs that we shouldn't really have to deal with.
Yeah, it's definitely probably the best DC team, most organised DC team I've seen since MLR. And how do you address that then? Like, obviously that's a mental problem or issue or challenge, should we say? It's a mental challenge. Like, how's the team addressed that this week? Like, Charlie, what was is that come from the coaching or within the team itself?
No, honestly, I think definitely DC game. Like, we had a good enough plan. Like, we had everything given to us enough to do the job. It wasn't because we didn't have that sort of thing in place. We just, as a lads, like, we didn't catch the first kickoff. Like, it's coming straight to you, and we just let it drop behind us, and yeah,
kind of set the tone.
Oh, set the tone massively at the start. Like, we just were trash. Like,
coach killers, right?
Yeah. So, bro, we just honestly, honestly, those sort of stuff. That just comes from the group. The group's got to take accountability for, honestly, like little errors that shouldn't be errors that we had, like just not catching a kickoff or.
So how you done
whatever.
that? What's different this week?
Honestly, a lot more lads are just being honest with each other. Like, we have a few handbags thrown at training the other day.
Love that.
I love it.
Can we drop some names? Do we know who was fighting?
Yeah, I reckon we could drop some names. Yeah, for sure. It was a bit of a mismatch in Rochi and Sammy Perry.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. No, that'd be all right, but the height difference is the reach.
Rochi's got some fight in him, though.
Yeah, same with Sammy Perry. He's a weird bloke, Pazza. But he's got some fight.
You played together in LA as well, right?
Yeah.
Why is he weird?
Ask him about aliens. If you ask him about aliens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ask him about aliens.
He's got this, like, incredible energy.
Yeah.
I remember the first, like, I didn't know Sam that well, and I gave him a call about Chicago, and he just had this, straight away. And I called Sam, and I was like, you got to talk to this guy. Like, I don't care if he's the worst player in the league, which he's not. You know, he's an American second row, and he's got so much, like, a ton of potential, and he's getting better all the time. But, like, that, you can't coach that energy and that want.
Yeah,
so impressive.
Honestly, he's big energy. Because at LA, he didn't get as many minutes as he wanted, but I did a bit of coaching at Santa Monica, up the fins. I did a bit of coaching there, like the scrum and stuff. And he was there. Mate, he's got big energy there.
Yeah.
And he was ripping in. And, yeah, I've seen him being a weird bloke everywhere a few times. And I don't know, but even when he went in the draft, I told my brother, who's coach at Utah, I said, bro, if no one picks him, take him. He's tall as, he's heaps of energy. And weirdos is good. That's good for you. If guys are comfortable being weird, I think it's such a good vibe.
We've got a few weirdos in our team, though.
Yeah, definitely. Lindsay Stevens, shout out.
Top of the weirdos.
Oh, Skeeter. Top of the weirdos is.
Yeah, I think, and it's something that I preach. It's kind of one of my pillars of my coaching philosophy. I want people to be authentic, and I feel it's my job to create a safe environment for them to show that authenticity. But you touched on something that we probably should dive into a bit. Your brother coaches at Utah. We played Utah this week. What's the chat like between you?
The chat is good. It's a lot of shit chat. Oh, I don't know if I can say that.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit chat. I'm very competitive with my brothers. Like, I got plenty of brothers, and I'm very competitive. And so, like, I definitely want to win. It's always the games I want to win. Like, he coached there last year. We won one, lost one. But this year I want to win. I want to win all the time.
Mm.
And to be fair, I don't just want to win. Like, no, I'm good.
That's zero alcohol.
No, I'm good.
That's zero alcohol. Shout out to Revolution Brewery.
Shout out Anti-Hero.
Local Chicago brand.
Is that
It's got the Chicago green there. Matches your hat.
up the Hounds?
Good. That's all right. Sorry, mate. Carry on.
Yeah, so I started talking shit to my brother on, when did they play? Saturday. So on Sunday.
Yep.
Did you watch that game?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think?
Definitely. I like, to be fair, I like watching Utah because they're exciting. Like, they throw the ball around. They got a massive pack, and their lads, they love a carry, love a hit. Especially they got big boys that literally will just run hard lines, and so it's good to watch, and it's even more fun to play against. And plus, you know, I'm gonna talk shit to my brother every day, and if we win, it's even better.
Do you boys ever play with each other?
Yeah, we played with each other in Auckland this year. Last year, in the MC, had had a game there together, and then we've played together in Sydney at Gordon, played together at East in Canberra. To be fair, I've played a lot of games just to play with. Like I played one game with 4 of my brothers, which was pretty fun. Hopefully when I'm a bit older, I'm going to start playing. I'll play 4th grade or 5th grade somewhere with my brothers.
You want to be a coach though, right?
Yeah, definitely. I want to get into it. I want to get it. Try it. Like, I think it's hard to be a coach. Like, but you got to try and see if you're good at it. Sometimes you're like real good players and not always the greatest coaches, but I think I'll go alright. I'll try. Who knows? I'll try my best. Anyways, we'll have to ask Sam Perry. I coached him at the Finns.
I think you've definitely got what it could take for sure. Without getting tested. The thing that I always equate to the really good coaches is the fact that they've just got like a hunger and a froth and a thirst for rugby, and they can just talk it all day.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could do that. So you got that in you. Plus, I've seen you do a bit of coaching with the scrum. You look like you got your detail down. So chance there. Robbie, coach of Utah, good coach. You know, I know Rob too, and I'm a big rap on him as a coach. And so it's funny. Obviously, we've got Michael Basker who played at Utah 2 years ago. It'll be a big game for him. But I think it'll be as equally a big game for you.
Yeah. Well, my cousin plays for Utah as well. He'll be coming off. Probably coming off the bench.
Who's your cousin?
Zion Going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's So I played in. Even I was at Auckland, so I went down injury cover. So I didn't play every game. So I played one of the games for Auckland's Bees team, and we went up. And we played Northland's Bees team, and to be honest, we were winning by quite a bit. And I get this inside ball, I get tackled, and I'm on the ground, and I put the ball back, and my cousin, he comes in, and while I'm on the ground, he lies on top of me, and he starts humping my head. I'm just putting the ball back, and his junk is just smashing my face like this.
You have a massive head as well. So.
I know. This little bastard, man, I was like, bro, you're an idiot. He just talked smack all day. So there.
You mentioned Basker, actually. Big game for him. I bigged him up massively in a couple of interviews early on in the year when people said to me, like, pick out a couple of players to watch. I thought that he's a guy who's going to come back with a real point to prove, missing out on the USA selection, going over to France, coming back. Probably, didn't peak last week, I think we'll admit, and he'd be the first to say that. But, what a game to, like, try and find some form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Play your way back into the league, into the game against your old team. I mean, he was there for what, probably 3 or 4 years?
I don't know how many years.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I was. I've been in the States for 2 seasons, and year one of that, Michael was playing for Utah, and at Austin we went 0-2 against them, and overall record is 1-3. So that first year, Basker was like pinnacle for them. He was like such a fulcrum for their attack and defence. Like, he's an absolute pest in defence as well. So, as you said, I think it's a great game for him to. Again, that's the beauty of rugby. You get these stories every week that, he's got an opportunity to right some wrongs, exercise some demons, and I think he's going to have a big game on the weekend.
He's got some engine as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Plays hard on and off the field.
Yeah. He's good, old
Works
Basker.
hard.
Yeah, he loves flexing his little French that he's got. Just talking French on the phone around surprisingly loud as.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone else on the other line. I think he's just practicing his French.
He just likes to flex to the lads. We get it, bro, you speak French, so.
When we originally started bringing him to Chicago and I started talking to him, he's like, I'll only come, but I need to get, I need somewhere I can do French lessons. I was like, don't worry, we'll find that out. That's fine. There's a patisserie somewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely someone.
Yeah. So, what are kind of big changes you think, like leading up to this next game? Like, if you had to put your finger on, I actually came in and watched you talk about kind of values with the players. I was really impressed with that.
Yeah.
It was like probably a conversation that could have gone for days at times.
Yeah.
Charlie, you were particularly passionate about one thing in particular, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh.
What we talked about basically what it was to be from Chicago, what Chicago meant to people, but also what it meant to be a Hound and be a part of this group. Why that was special, what was different about it, and what differentiated the group from other teams. Charlie, what was your big thing?
I like. I think the talk that we had there went on for ages. I think Lindsay Stevens, he must have been reading a thesaurus or something before that. There's a lot of words being thrown out, but no, I think my general vibe from Chicago is that they're pretty. In general, they're pretty hard people. Pretty I don't know if that's even the right word to say, but they're pretty strong people, tough people, and I think. What was my word that I had? I think
big shoulders, wasn't it?
There was big shoulders. That's it, big shoulders.
What does that mean to you?
Well, honestly, DJ's the one who brought it up, and I just as soon as he brought it up about how, I guess people from this area, it's like a saying that they have about them, people that they've had big shoulders or they're just strong, tough, and for me, I loved that. I thought that was pretty cool when he brought it up, and I think when you think of with big shoulders, you think of being strong and being resilient, being tough, and I think what you got to have a bit for the lads coming in is being resilient, tough, being hardworking, and obviously trying your best. I think I really enjoyed just him saying big shoulders. He sent a poem in too to the just so that was nice.
Who are the other lads who are coming out with some stormers? Who had the garlic chat?
No, I think between it definitely wasn't garlic, but Rossi came up with a word that he strongly wanted, and it just didn't make the cut in the end. But it was a tough pill for both him and Mikkel Duvall to swallow because they really wanted it in there. But you can't make everybody happy in those kinds of scenarios. And I think up until this stage, because we've had such a short time together, it was time to kind of lay some platform for our identity, who we are, and I was never planning to do that before the season because we had no idea of who we were and who we wanted to be. So we started that process yesterday, and it was enjoyable. It's hard. It could go for 4 hours, but you don't want it to go for 4 hours. And I think some people walked away from yesterday kind of maybe you can't make everybody happy, can you? But I thought we ended up with a good result.
Everyone bought into big shoulders though. That's the only thing.
But that's it, right? Buy-in. Can you get something that people buy into and believe in, and you can hold people accountable around? But it's interesting that you waited a little bit and tried to make it something a little bit more organically rather than trying to force it upon people early around what you think people should be or what the team should be like, and instead giving them some time to get into that and letting them come up with themselves. It's really interesting to watch.
It's probably easier now, lads, to be open because, I've had those we have chats at lunch, the little interviews with. We have little interviews with the lads that share about their experiences.
They're brilliant. Tell us a bit about them.
So the lads, lads get up, say where they're from, a bit about their life, and then they also talk about maybe a hardship they've been through, and just a bit of their background.
Who's been your highlight so far? Top three.
I actually liked Mark O'Keefe's one because O'Keefe he's pretty cool fella, he's just.
Well, I brought Keefe over 5 years ago to New York,
and
he wouldn't say boo to a goose.
Yeah.
And now he struts around like he's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Aye, pretty much. Chicago's
Ronaldo.
Chicago's Ronaldo.
Shit Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Sydney Shoop's one. I think Sid will probably be the first one to tell you he's not blessed with the talent that some of the other players have here, but man, what he doesn't have in talent, he makes up for grit and determination, and his story was pretty interesting. Were you here for Sid's one? I'm not sure if you were here.
I saw it, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, it was it was good. He obviously loves family and has had a lot of hardships, and his dad who coached, who was offense coordinator for the Bears through the 90s. Shout out to John Mount Shoop. Great man. I've met him a few times and got a lot of time for him. Big Shoopy. But yeah, he's gone through a bit of hardships at the moment, and he's coming out the other end, which is great. But yeah, Shoopy's was really touching. Everybody's been very open and transparent. Look, we won't go into what Charlie shared, but I think I caught him off guard a bit. I dove a little bit deeper than he was expected, and he shared something he wasn't planning on sharing. But
it's all right.
It was yeah, that's what those chats are about. To kind of vulnerability is another big thing for me, and so this gives them a chance to be that, and then
it kind of links into your idea of being authentic, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
How do you like nurture that? How do you like encourage people to be their true self in a group like that, where there's like a lot of big personalities, like there's some huge personalities in that group, right? A lot of people who have been there and done it, some who haven't. How do you like create that environment where people are comfortable enough to be them true selves? And
yeah, it's a hard one to answer. I think like, yeah, and I'm not preaching that I'm a different coach to any other coach, but I think it's the conversations you have that aren't about the X's and O's, that aren't about rugby, just seeing, what makes people tick, but also what's going on in their life at that time, and also how we can make their life a little bit easier, and as I said, a lot of other coaches do that as well. But
I think we've recruited a lot of players some of those senior players who once they took the lead and they were able to do that everyone kind of was able to follow suit a little bit. Yeah.
And I think too, it's in an open forum when you got the whole team there, making sure you're always preaching consistent messaging that that's what I want from this group, and I embrace that and endorse it.
Do you think you having that relationship with some of those players from coaching them in Austin made that easier?
Yeah,
or
sure.
You just got there quicker?
Yeah, no, for sure. They can take the lead a bit. But even going back to last week's game against DC, like I think when you think about continuity, you think about attacking moves and drop balls when you shouldn't be and all that stuff. But I think even that, getting out on the field, like we didn't throw a punch for 20 minutes, and continuity's part of that as well. Everyone was looking around waiting for someone to do something, and we just hadn't played it. We just haven't played enough footy yet and I underestimated that. I think I was always hoping that we'd keep it close with 20 to go and we kind of hang in there and then get the job done. But I kind of underestimated that part about just the emotional leaders, the spiritual leaders, the guys that that just go and do something without waiting for somebody else to do it. We just didn't have that against Old Glory, and I think now that we've recognised that, I think people will be much better at.
Would you put that down to the timeline?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think that's pretty indicative of where we've been as an organisation for since kind of November, right? Everything's been done very quickly. Like, we're learning as we go. We've got some stuff right. We're probably a little bit behind where we would like to be. If we had that kind of year runway to do everything, things would be probably different to how now. But like, this is where we're at, right?
Yeah. And I always knew that like we'd build into this year and hopefully grind out some wins early till we built that continuity, and then we're away. But yeah, even looking back to year one when I was here, I think LA built the blueprint of how to run a preseason, and before, they it all happened pretty shortly or compactly. But they went to Hawaii and they bonded for. Were you there for 4 weeks, 3 weeks?
5-star private jet Hawaii, was it?
No, it definitely wasn't that.
It wasn't 5-star.
Yeah.
I got there. I was there for 3 weeks, but wasn't there for 4.
Yeah.
So I got there a week late for visa stuff, but it was like.
Story of your life, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The visas, mate, it's tricky. No, but it was good. It was like, yeah.
But I think if you have the budget, and you don't have to spend a lot on this, but if you can find an opportunity to take the group away from their everyday life, where they have to buy groceries, all the different everyday life stuff that takes you away from the rugby environment. So if you can capture the audience for 1 week, 4 weeks, whatever it is, that pays dividends further down the line. And then on top of that, I think so I learnt from that year one, replicated it in year two, post Christmas, post New Year's at Austin. But even before that, building an academy, getting some games for, the bottom 15, 20 players of your squad through that fall period, building the continuity with that group to make sure that when you get to bringing the big dogs in, the guys that have the lower rugby IQ or the less runs on the board, once they come together, you're humming and you're away. And so I feel like, again, I wasn't revolutionary in what we did last year at Austin, but I think some teams did that. But then also, I think some people followed that trend this year. And so
you're saying our lead up was far from ideal, basically.
but
one game against Atlanta wasn't quite enough.
No, I am saying that, but more so, I'm saying a lot of teams within the MLR have started their process in October, September. They were laying groundwork for this season then, and they didn't have a blank slate to work from. They already had their systems in place when they started there. So I think the competition's leveled up. Yes, we've got a short runway, but I think the competition leveled up again.
I think I agree. Is like that area, and this was always going to be a challenge for us. Was we can bring in the big guys like Charlie, who have got experience, who've played in the MLR before. Literal big guys, but then it's those like tail end squad guys that you need. It's the trainers that come in and work with a squad. It's those guys who project as MLR players in the future who aren't quite there yet. It's that 3 or 4 years of having academies, working with a local pathway, like developing a pathway, working with the community too. We're just like too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, we're never ever going to make excuses, and we've done the best we can up until this point, and I still think we're a genuine, championship team by the time we get to July. But yeah, I think other teams have an advantage at this stage, and then also the processes that a lot of them put in place have stood them in good stead, and people around the MLR teams around the league are starting to understand more and more how important the pre-Christmas part is, and then they're starting to refine how they do it post-Christmas, and then when they get to round one, a lot of teams are humming rather than...
So what you're saying is, once you sign an extension on your contract, that we can start planning on the fall already?
That's what I'll be doing. I am already planning that for you anyway, but...
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Charlie, you're on a 3-year contract to us, right?
Yeah.
So you're here for a while, mate. You better get used to that weather.
Yeah, locked in. Locked in.
I own you now.
Yeah. Happy with that decision, mate? How do you feel about that?
It's early days, but happy enough. Nah, I am happy because I honestly like... I like the States in general. Like, I've been here a bit, and I like it, so...
It's interesting because, like, a lot of the big lads who have been there and done it, like Chicago was a gamble for them.
Yeah.
So a lot wanted they were basically signing for a team based around a dream or a vision that me and Sam were selling with zero, like nothing else. And a few of them were coming in and a bit tentative, and I'll take 1-year contracts. I want to see how it goes. Charlie was straight in with, no, I want a 3-year. Let's go. Let's do this.
Big risk taker.
But you committed to it, and I like that. I think there's a lot to be said for someone who sees something and's like, no, I want to be part of that and I want to build it, because this, like as Sam said, this is not something that's going to just build itself in a year. Right. This is it's going to be a long process. It's a slow build, especially if we want to do it right.
Yeah, I definitely want to win. I want to win the comp. I'd like winning. If we can help it, I want to win. So if I feel like...
Do you think we can?
Yeah, I reckon we can.
Yeah. And you've been there and done it as well, right?
Yeah, I think we can. I think, it's if you want a good team, you want to be real strong, then, I mean, just like you guys said, you need to build over time and academy. Like, I helped out with a bit of the academy in LA and stuff like that. And honestly, the academy and U18s, like, if we get that stuff going, that's the best. Those guys love it. It's good to watch lads who just love it, just rip it in, coming in after work, just having a crack. A lot of the guys don't even have proper rugby boots. They're just trying their best, because, man, it's so hard to get rugby boots here.
They're either here for an opportunity or here just to help out. And we've got a couple of guys like that.
Shut up, my man, Jovan.
Jovan and Jacob, like those guys, soul of the earth guys that, and even now with them, we still don't have enough numbers to field 15 or 15 sometimes. So, and that's luxuries that other teams have that we don't at the moment. So hopefully building towards it.
Yeah, and on that, it's like it was a build, right? So if we were to try and do everything year one with a 3-month runway, we probably would have had very little impact.
Yeah.
But I really believe, and myself and Sam talked about this when we first chatted about it, was like core product has to come first. Can we put a team on the field that can compete? Yeah. Can we create a fan experience? Can we get a fantastic stadium that people can aspire to be part of and play in? And then off the back of that, once people trust us, buy into what we're doing, connect with us, are proud of us, then we can start looking at, okay, now how do we start looking at building our academy? Where are our community roots? How do we really start to look at developing and growing the game across the Midwest? It's exciting, right? There's so much to do, but like expectations are high.
Yeah.
Like it's a real challenge.
Yeah, I think with the academy and the alignment piece, like we are right in the middle of such a huge rugby community. You know, like obviously we're the Chicago Hounds, but we're representing the Midwest at the moment until there's other teams in the competition. So I think we've got an opportunity, if we can do it right, to show, USA Rugby perhaps, how to align everyone, and make that ecosystem really beneficial to everybody.
And you're dead right. And I think from my perspective, like one thing I didn't want to do is come in and say, we're the professional team now in Chicago Midwest. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
And that build goes back to like the idea of building. Like we have to like meet the stakeholders in the community, find out what their challenges are, where are the opportunities, how do we start to align. Like, there's people here who've done like fantastic work of growing and building the game for the last like 30, 40, 50 years, right?
Yeah.
Who are we to come in and say, no, that's not how you do it. You do it like this.
Yeah.
And I think to get a proper idea of like what the landscape looks like, it takes a bit of time.
Yeah, I agree, mate. You've asked all the questions. How? What's been your biggest? What are your biggest battles? How have you found this process? Without a doubt, you're the man for the job. What?
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yeah, no worries. I probably should.
That contract's coming.
But yeah, how have you found it, and what are the biggest speed bumps you've run into?
You know what? It's the high expectations are one of the hardest things around it. It's like people are so excited, and rightly so. Like Chicago and the Midwest deserve the professional rugby team.
Yeah.
Right. You look at the MLR. You look at the geography of it. Like it's crazy that there's this massive big hole in the middle with all this rugby, and yet there's no pro team there. So I think that like with that comes like huge expectation, and people have been let down by high performance rugby for so many years in this country, right? Like USA Rugby's been a shambles.
Yeah.
Like MLR like hasn't existed in this area, and I think with like people are so excited they want everything straight away. It's just trying to like get that message across that like we have all these plans, but it's going to take time, right? To do it properly.
I just remember like every post we'd put out initially, no matter how positive it was always someone who said, "When's the merchandise?
Where's the
merchandise?
When's the merch?"
And I'm thinking to myself, "Mate, we haven't even got a training T-shirt yet."
Yeah. The team are running around in like Lululemon shorts. But it's a challenge, but it's such a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we could probably do a better job articulating and communicating our message. But that's also because we've been like wrapped up in this whirlwind of in 3 months trying to like find a stadium, get a media partner, build medical partners, sign 32 players who can compete in MR level, have like these like fantastic rugby staff that we've got, and at the same time like balance that front office area. So I think the biggest challenge has been like that this is not a toy. We have really good investors who are like really committed to making this work. But like, what does making it work mean? Like it might be different to you and to me. But like for me, it's I want to win a championship.
Yeah.
I want to see you win a championship, Charlie. But like, I'd rather see this team here in 5 years' time thriving and competing at the highest level. So it's like it's got to make sense. It's got to be sustainable financially. Like we have an opportunity to show that rugby can work in this country, and pro rugby. And pro rugby's having a tough time, like all over the place, right? Look at England. Look at Australia.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you said you went back to Australia and it was a bit of a shambles.
Yeah, there's not. Oh, it's not. Not a lot going on.
You said you went to play club rugby, and it was like
the bus is just driving over me, right?
tanking.
Let's hope Eddie Jones isn't watching this.
Oh, he's not watching me. That's fine.
Eddie's way too busy.
Yeah, he's way too busy. Nah.
He's got a big job on his hands.
He does. No. Yeah, it is. It's not great everywhere. I mean,
even in New Zealand's struggling, Like
New Zealand's struggling.
home of the All Blacks.
Everyone's.
Yeah, and I think people look at America and they're like, well, it has to make sense there. But we're dealing with a game that, like, as a professional quantity, like, isn't doing like that well. Yeah, it's a global game. Yes, the World Cup does well. The Six Nations does well. Like you go around to an English or an Irish bar in Chicago and it's full of people watching the Six Nations. But who's watching Premiership rugby? Who's watching URC? Who's watching Super Rugby? Like, not really anyone.
Yeah.
So it's actually, and everyone like Chicago, what a great opportunity. It's a great sports town.
Yeah.
That also makes it like, we're competing with some of the biggest sports brands in the world here, right? It's tough.
I think that probably adds expectation too.
Yeah.
'Cause obviously, Chicago teams have been champions. Probably not recently, but they're memorable champions. Like the Bulls, very memorable champions.
Yeah.
And then even the Bears, 85 Bears, like everyone talks about them now. It's ages ago.
Yeah.
And like,
You got to be competitive to people to come and watch you play, right?
yeah.
It's like pro sports.
Yeah.
If you're not competitive and you're losing every game, like I don't want to go and pay to watch that.
Yeah, I think back to the Chicago piece, what makes Chicagoans who they are, very proud bunch. That's where the big shoulders comes from. Very, they love to support a sporting team. They love even better to support a successful sporting team. And I think they deserve it. So, we want to deliver that for sure. And it's, I think it's not lost on any of the guys that we've got a big job up ahead of us, and we've got a stretch of games coming up at home, and this is a pivotal game for us because it's our first show, and first impressions make they make a difference.
Yeah.
And so if we can, and I've said this from the get go, like if we do this right and we do it correctly and we don't miss a step, then I'm pretty sure the Chicago public are going to get behind us, and that's what excites me.
How would you like to be remembered doing this? Like, this is the first time a pro team will ever step foot on a field in Chicago as a Chicago-based rugby team. Charlie, you're going to be out there doing that. Like, what does that, like, how does that feel? Like, how do you want to be remembered? What is that an opportunity for you, or?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember the first game in LA, the first time, that was cool as, and this I expect it to be no different. It's like, and I hope the weather's good.
Just a smaller stadium and more people, hopefully.
To be fair, it's
a smaller paycheck.
It's good. It's good. Little tucked-in stadium, and so I hope that people can, when they come out, like it's a pretty cool feeling in general just to go out. I mean, it's the first year I was here when the national anthem. That was sort of a weird experience because you don't normally do it just for every game.
Yeah.
I think it also for guys that are foreign, it's like it is a moment just to just take it in a bit because, obviously the national anthem for a lot of the American lads you have, it's very important to them, and for us it's important to us as well because we're in this country, we're grateful for the opportunity to be here and to do what we do, so it's important for that, but also it's a little moment for us to take it in and that. I can't wait for that because that's
hairs
cool.
in the back of your neck moment, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, but you feel that anticipation, and you're just standing there and waiting, and then the first.
So you're a fan of the national anthem before every game?
Well, I'm used to it now. Initially, I thought, what are we doing standing? Why? But now I do. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
What are we doing for the national anthem? Is it?
We have a singer. First game, we have a singer singing the national anthem from the Chicago Police Force.
Awesome.
Oh, you're not
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they're part of the. We've got these the police are doing the bagpipes and the drums and all that kind of stuff. They're going to lead the team out, so it's going to be a pretty special moment. I think when that first time that you hear the bagpipes come in and the team walks out, I think it's going to be a.
I'm a big fan of bagpipes.
Are you?
Mate, Adam Ash will just.
What's your favourite? What's your favourite bagpipe song?
No, I don't even know. I don't know what bagpipes. I like just hearing it. I don't know songs.
Yeah. Ashley will love it.
It'd
be a nice moment for him as well, but it definitely links into that kind of Celtic feel of what we're trying to build here and tie into that part of the community as well in Chicago.
That was a risky question for me to ask because I didn't know the answer. I'm glad you didn't say it's a pre-recording.
Yeah. Charlie, maybe you should sing it one game.
Nah. Mika.
Do you know the words?
Nah.
No.
Actually, a funny story. Last or maybe year one with Austin, my assistant coach Mark Gerard, he had a daughter who's got an amazing voice, and she kind of put her hand up to sing the national anthem, and then it was going to happen, but then she had a croaky throat and she didn't want to do it, and so my daughters put their hand up and said they'd do it, and then so they practiced for 24 hours to try, and they're not fantastic singers, and but they put the work in to try and do it. Some were keener than others, but anyway, about 6 hours before kick-off, our GM rang up. Yeah, we're not going to need you to do the national anthem today. Yeah, don't worry about it. So, yeah.
You had to break the news.
The girls were shattered, so...
Well, it can't be any worse than my first ever game in the MLR where we had Toronto at New York. Really excited about it. Obviously spent months preparing, like huge detail. Well, personally anyway. It's a bit of a shambles apart from that. But so they turned up to MCU Park and same thing, came out, played the national anthem. Someone sang it. Beautiful moment. Everyone this is pretty cool. I think we had 3,000 or 4,000 people there. It was a pretty good crowd.
Is that the field they're at this year?
No, this is the first one. MCU when we had in Brooklyn.
The one you had last year?
It's one before that.
Oh,
Yeah. The touring team.
Yeah.
They're currently touring New York and New Jersey, so find them at a baseball field near you or at a high school field near you. No. So the national anthem played, and there's music stopped, and everyone waited, and then the music played, and the team ran off, and Toronto was standing there. We're going to hear the Canadian national anthem. And the guy in the booth forgot to press it. And they went ballistic after the game. I had to listen to Mark Winokur and the guys there. And rightly so, it was pretty disrespectful. And but obviously not on purpose. But they thought, these guys at New York think they can come here and not even play our national anthem. So it was a great start to the MLR for me. Hopefully we can only get better than this in our first home game here.
Yeah, well, it looks like you've left no stone unturned for this one. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, it should be good. And we've got an Irish band playing as well. Bit of live music.
Oh, yeah?
What kind of music are you into, Charlie?
During the game?
No, just before.
Yeah.
You're not into Celtic punk, are you?
No, definitely not. No. Definitely not. I like country music.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and then more like Aussie rap after that.
Aussie rap? Is that a thing?
It's kind of it's definitely a thing.
Is it?
Right? Yeah, get amongst it. Yeah, come down to the gym one time and...
Maybe give us some, we'll play it in the stadium. See how it goes down.
No, I don't think it's stadium approved. I don't think so.
It's not PG, no?
James,
no, definitely not.
Me and Charlie are around the boys every day. You're around us every other day. Who's impressed you out of the players that you maybe didn't
It's an impressive group. I love coming in because the energy is always phenomenal. Yep. I spend so much time in meetings that I look forward to coming in so that I can be around the boys and you realise why you do it. Mm-hmm. You can get caught up in so much of the stuff that's the non-sexy part of MLR. Yeah. And then you get back in and you have lunch and you see the boys eating and the banter flying around and the energy of it. There's some great characters in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Mika has got to be one of my favourites.
Mika Felix.
Yeah, he's quality.
Mika Felix. I mean, this guy's like Mika. A cartoon. He's just the best, isn't he? Yeah. He's just got the best energy and he's a great guy to have around.
How he doesn't have a TV show, a reality TV
Well, he needs
show.
to be the next guest.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be guest number 2.
I think you'll get some shout-outs in this because he's a quality lad.
Yeah.
Good energy.
He's Charlie's little nephew, did you know that? As well.
You guys look a bit like it. Well, I'll tell you a good story about Mika. It's Mika obviously impressed everyone because he's just a great guy to have around and he's got this amazing personality and it's very, this energy that really draws you in and you want to get to know him more. So we actually sent our marketing guy to the zoo with him just to film him at the zoo. So Mika and Andrew Newman, who worked with me back in New York back in the day, went for a day trip to the zoo in Chicago, did all this film content, and when they were walking out, the security guys stopped Andrew and made him delete it because we weren't allowed to film in there.
I was wondering where the footage
That's why we didn't have any. But it was a great concept, and they both had a great day at the zoo, and apparently nice. Mika loved the monkeys.
Yeah, you should take him to the aquarium. Have you been to the aquarium here?
No, I haven't. No, is that good?
Sheds?
Hey?
Sheds aquarium?
Sheds, yeah. There's a they have a 4D movie. I took my kids there.
It's a good story.
They got scared at the start.
Do you know what 4D is?
Yeah. So in the 4D, you sit there and I don't know why we picked sharks, but we picked sharks anyways. So as soon as the first thing, a shark comes on and the chairs start vibrating, and the kids just freak out.
How old are your kids?
My son's 5. He's not too bad, but my daughter's 3, and she was off it. She hated it. And it shoots water at you from the chair. So the kids are getting wet, and they get vibrating chairs. They just hated it the whole time. But me and Georgie Thornton loved it, so that's fine.
The big Scott. How's he getting on?
Yeah, good.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, big lad.
Surprised when he turned up, just how big he was.
He's a big human.
Yeah.
A big human. Good lad. Good I could get along well with Georgie, hang out a bit.
Yeah.
So it's good fun. And he played at Norths in Sydney.
That's right. Yeah.
Yuck. Yuck. Up the Stags.
Yeah.
I played at Gordon, so there's like a little rivalry there for those two clubs.
Nice.
But he's a good lad, Georgie. Georgie boy.
And then there's like Duke, good big personality as well. Crashed his car in the first 2 weeks. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, big old Duke.
And then there's a lot of characters, like I said. There's like guys like Mark O'Keefe, are always a bundle of energy.
Yeah.
And those guys like Beachy and Bryce, who just got this assured calmness at all times.
Mm.
You know, it's really nice to be around.
It's like dads of the group.
They kind of are, yeah.
What about you, Charlie? What? There's some guys here that you haven't played with or seen before. What? Is there any guys that caught your eye that you have been impressed with?
Yep. To be fair, the lads that I didn't play with, I jammed their social medias, so I got to know them a bit. Dookie's pretty active on his socials.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he is pretty active.
He loves to sponsor posts,
yeah,
doesn't
he does. I just commented he looks cute on his last sponsor post.
There's a lot of selfies and hoodies and
yeah,
stuff.
he does. I was like, good lad.
Yeah.
And I've actually been real impressed with Shoopy. You know, he actually, we had last contact session, he was ripping in harder than the lads.
Was he?
Yeah, then the next session, a lot of lads that were in getting strapped. We're all talking about we need to strap up because Shoopy's out. Shoopy's out. The gremlin's out chasing the lads. So there's a few lads strapping up extra just for him.
We had a session on Monday, so we didn't play on the weekend. Obviously, Monday we're in. Normally Monday's a pretty relaxed day because you played a game 2 days earlier, but because we had the bye, it wasn't relaxed. It was the opposite.
And the boys had a few days off, right, before a couple of days off.
Yeah. According to Reddit, it was all 7 days, but
was it?
It wasn't all 7 days.
Maybe they just all saw pictures of Mark O'Keefe, Luke Carty and Michael Basker with their tops off
That's
on the
exactly
beach for 2 days. That's why.
Yeah, but anyway, so we come back in and we were doing a breakdown drill and I love when I get the opportunity to say this. Shoopy, would you like to make some tackles or some jackals? And his eyes light up, and he's just like, I give my kids presents on their birthday and Christmas. Their eyes don't light up like Shoopy's eyes light up.
Giving him the green light.
Yeah, and so I did the same for once Shoopy led the way. Did the same for Cookie. He was into it. Did the same for Skeeter, Lindsay Stevens. He was not as much into it to do it, but yeah, Shoopy was into it, and it's great because what we were trying to achieve was hard without actual tackles or a body over the ball with tackles.
Who are the lads who don't like it? Are the lads that get rolled up with that?
I think like a lot of the lads got annoyed. They all get frustrated and pissed off.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of it. Like if you give a lad the license to be a bit more physical, then like even if you say the drill's like an 8 for contact and he's ripping in at a 10, the first 1 or 2 times that he's doing it, the boys get pissed off and then they're like, I want to fucking do this.
Then they get back into it.
And to be fair, even when the lads went harder, he was still ripping in.
Yeah.
So they have to.
So that session that we did on Monday, he loves on Tuesday. He loves because the last time I did it in Austin, Jamie McIntosh, shout out to Whopper. He said Whopper got pissed off with him and he punched him in the head 20 times before he let him go. And so I was like, "Did you get punched in the head this time?" And he's like, "Yeah, Mick the Wall punched me in the head and Roachy kicked me in the face." But he loves it
anyway.
Yeah,
he loves it. He's a tough little gremlin. Yeah.
So what's your prediction for the weekend, Charlie? You got to call it.
This weekend we're gonna go. They can score some tries, so we'll give them 1, and they'll kick some penalties. We're gonna say 10-30.
Nice. I'll take that.
We need a bonus point, you know.
Yeah.
We've got to chase some tries, and I want to win by a good amount. It's winning by 1 point's good, bragging rights, but winning by 30 points is nice, extra bragging rights. And I'm pretty keen for this weekend, especially. Yeah.
Would be good for us. I mean, we're looking at 5 home games in a row at home. 5 home games in a row at home. 5 home games in a row in March. Tough weather. It's not going to be the easiest sell. We know that. So I think a win will definitely do us a little bit of good in that respect. But I also
100%.
think it's like it's like it's deserved and it's coming.
Do you have an idea of how many people we're going to have out? You reckon?
Yeah, I mean it'll be probably one more than San Diego announced last week.
What you do is push all the fans to one spot and
Into
just
one
film
corner
that.
and just film that for the entire game.
Just film that. 20,000.
11,401.
401. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's good.
No, listen, it's the chat again. Like a lot will depend on the weather. We've had a couple of great days this week in Chicago, but we've got a snowstorm coming in tomorrow. Chicago fans are hardy. They get that. They're tough. They don't mind a bit of cold, but 5 weeks in a row is going to be tough. But I do think that if this team can hit the heights it has a potential to, and start getting some wins and some momentum, which I have no doubt it will, people are going to get behind that. And they're going to want to watch us.
Yeah, if we play some good footy, you'll get some. Hopefully, we'll get some people out.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah. You're probably looking to wrap up there, James. But we spoke about the players, but we've also got an awesome staff. From the staff point of view, mate, who's caught your eye? Who have you enjoyed?
This can only go one way, right? Listen, Beamer, Jamie Beamish. I mean, he's like, you got to look at Chicago Sounds, our DJ set with him and Ashy. Yeah. I don't know what I'd pay Beamish for, but he spends more time DJing than seeming to work out the boys. Every time I walk into the gym, he's standing behind the decks.
No, it's needed. It's needed. He had a quality set yesterday.
He had a quality set. He spends a lot of time like building those playlists.
Yeah,
clearly.
good hour, a couple of good bangers in there.
You're paying a guy to like work on his craft and become a better DJ.
Yeah, basically, essentially, that's it. Yeah, but he works hard, and we've got a young staff across the board, but they're hungry and they're energetic and they get it. And I was listening to the players talk about like the values of what they expect from each other, and it kind of aligned with like what we've kind of built there as well. And I think that's really important. Yeah. We got I brought Andrew Newman, who worked with me in New York, and he's working really hard on the marketing side of it. We got people selling tickets out there. The coaching staff are working really hard to get this right. We've got two pretty young coaches working with you, Clance and Ashy, two guys who in their own right will probably be head coaches of MLR teams in the future. Like Beamer's working incredibly hard. We have a fantastic medical staff. DJ, our analyst, I mean, he is a wizard, isn't he? Absolute rugby nerd. Just loves it. But so impressive with it, so impressive. Yeah. And look, we always said that core product's important, and we've done that with the rugby, I think. Yeah. I think you're doing a really good job, Sam, if that's what you're asking me to.
I was asking you who caught your eye, but you just named our whole staff.
But if we're, in 4 weeks' time, if we're on 4, we'll have another conversation.
I know that's coming. What about you, Charlie, from a player's point of view?
The staff?
Yeah.
To be fair, I've known Ashy, playing with Ashy, and he coached at UCLA, and I helped out a little bit there. And then Clancy, he did the academy, and so I'm a big fan of Ashy. I like the work that
what do you like about him?
I like his line-out stuff. I think he's good detail. I like his more detail. To be fair, the way he coaches is pretty cruisy. He doesn't. Maybe some lads don't like it, but I like it. I feel like if you as a coach, if he gives you the responsibility to do it and he doesn't, I don't know, I just like his style in general. He's cruisy, he lets you be yourself, it's up to you whether you rip in and he does. And so I like that about Ashy. And Clancy, I know Clancy's from watching him before. Man, he loves footy too, and his detail's good.
I've known Clancy a lot from his Instagram, running along the beach with Kombucha taking selfies with himself.
Yeah. Well, surprise, surprise, Charlie's just nominated 2 Giltinis guys. Right, I keep it in our side.
Sorry,
I see what you've done there, yeah. What about the other lads?
That's probably it, I think. No. Honestly, I like it. I played under Sam before, but I know from watching them and seeing the stuff that they did with Austin, I knew that they...
What did you think when you used to play against Austin as LA? What were your thoughts?
Those were always real hard games. And I liked the style that they played as well. Like I thought they played physical, but still fast, and they had obviously they had a great squad, but they had like a style there that I like to play. Like I think I like to try and be physical, but also back the bigger lads to try and throw a pass and here and there, pay a bit, and so that's why. There's another reason why it was pretty easy to come here for me, as I knew the style that was going to play was going to be good. And I mean, I had no clue about Chicago, but I knew Sammy, I knew Clancy, and then Ashy and stuff. That's enough for me to say, oh, yeah. And so I've been.
I do your
real
contract
happy.
as well, though, right?
Yeah, but I've never met you before. I like you now. Does that count?
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's all been good. Like, yeah.
It's been a whirlwind, though, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Definitely. It's a lot.
Guys haven't been here for 10 days.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but yeah.
Have you had deep dish pizza yet?
Yeah, I had one.
What did you think of it?
Everyone's going to say I'm lying when I said I had one, but I couldn't find it. I didn't know where to go. That's why I've had one. Okay, guys. It was all right.
It's not really pizza, is it? It's weird. It's like a pie.
Yeah. I felt like it was more like a big, yeah. I don't know what. I got like one that felt like it was like pasta or something.
It's going to really upset a lot of people.
Yeah,
on this podcast.
Sorry, guys.
What about Chicago-style hot dog?
I
had that yet?
I didn't even know what that is.
Do you put ketchup on your hot dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful doing that in Chicago.
What?
They don't
Why?
like it. It's like mustard and pickles. You don't put ketchup on your hot dog.
Nah, I don't even like pickles.
What are they going to say to Charlie?
I don't like pickles.
What are they going to say to Charlie?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'll get Shoopy on them.
Take Shoopy with you.
Yeah. No, I've never heard that before until just then about Chicago.
Maybe we'll make that as an extension of this podcast, is taking you for a Chicago-style hot dog.
Mate, we could do that. Take the lads around Chicago. I hear Chicago's got heaps of good food, but
It does.
I don't know.
We had I had some deep
You're not really into food, no?
No, I don't even eat that much.
I had some glandular. I had some deep dish pizza. We got some takeaway one time when my family was here, and it was just so much, and I couldn't finish the pizza. There was still half of it left, and but my family was leaving the next day. Anyway, my wife was like, "You're not going to eat that pizza tomorrow, are you?" I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with that pizza, but she's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know if it's going to stay good." She just really didn't want me to eat another piece of pizza.
I mean, pizza's better in the next morning, I think.
Yeah.
Another bit of stale kind of cold pizza.
Yeah, I did drop into Pequod's the other day. I do want to try that because apparently that's renowned to be Ginty's all over it. That's meant to be the best. And why I want to try Pequod's is because when you order it, they ask you, do you want it rare, medium, or well done?
A pizza.
A pizza.
Yeah, you get it really crispy or not.
It's not a steak. How do you do that?
Well, obviously, just leave it in.
We've got to give that a try then.
Well,
we'll try that.
No, not obviously. I'm assuming that they probably just leave it in the pizza oven for a little bit longer than.
Oh, they took it. It's like the base is crispy.
A little bit burned as well on top.
Yeah, right. You got to be medium rare, sure.
Well, we'll leave that for the next episode. We'll find out what Mika liked.
Let's order one in to the show.
Get it in.
That'll be really
taste test.
That'll be
Mika
seamless
he'd be good
for a podcast. It'd just be like
just bring the whole front row in for it.
Yeah, we're due for.
Who'd you back on the front row to eat the most pizza?
Maybe Georgie.
I reckon George. My money would be on George. Yeah, he's a big lad.
I don't know.
But tall as well. He's tall.
Yeah, Georgie's tall. Paddy's pretty tall.
Don't underrate.
Maybe
Paddy,
Timmy.
actually.
Maybe surprise Timmy.
Timmy Owen.
Well, Paddy's a Chicago boy.
Rome can put away some food.
Can he?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But Paddy's a Chicago. Paddy's a Chicago boy. You know, he knows his pizza.
Yeah.
Right. But he's not a fan. He's not a big.
He's not a fan.
He's not a big fan.
He just told you he's not a fan.
I just added.
He just said, "I didn't even like pizza." You like pizza? Nah, I don't even like it.
Especially deep dish. Hate it.
Deep dish.
I haven't even tried it.
I don't even like medium rare one. Nah, you gotta get the front row down for that one. For a feed.
Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Charlie, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks,
it's been a great first episode. We couldn't have probably chosen a better personality for it.
Hey, just don't wear those.
Mate, I appreciate you really making an effort.
Oh, shout out to Crocs. If we can get some green ones for the
Talking
Hounds.
about Duke with the sponsored endorsement.
I got 2 pairs, but if I could do a 3, okay?
But just for note for the camera, Charlie turned up in a UCLA hoodie and a Harvard hat, so we had to actually get him on brand as well for today. But all the merch that you can see will be on sale exclusively at our first game this weekend at SeatGeek Stadium. Charlie, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. Good fun.
You're listening to the Big Dogs podcast with me and Sam, and we'll look forward to you joining us again.
Thanks, guys.
It's scrum time!